lay member to annual conference. My name is Tammy Burba, and I am going to be spending a little time with you as we discuss and go through some of the things that you can prepare for and know what to expect for annual conference. The first thing that we're going to have is a ways for you to prepare for your annual conference. At the end of February, Reverend Julie Love sent an email with registration information, and we're going to just do a quick review on some of that information and an overview. But if you have not received that information, if you will see on your screen is the link in order to pull that information up so you can get this done. It does have to be done by May 15th. And also is an email address for Linda Thomas. And what you need to do is send your information to her so that she can get you on her list of names to keep you updated. The online registration doesn't take very long at all to do. And while you're there, you will also determine if you need any babysitting or also for our day of service, which we'll be discussing a little bit more in a minute. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about as you're preparing for the annual conference is the district meetings. Of the 9 districts, we have 3 of them listed because we had the dates and times already given to us at the time we're doing this. If you're not listed there, then go ahead and get with your pastor so that you can have that date and information so you can attend. Every district will have a meeting sometime before the annual conference itself. The next thing that I want to talk about is some pre-conference duties. Now, pre-conference duties are the things that you're going to be doing between now and the time for annual conference. And one of them is items that you'll be collecting for the UMCOR health kits. Inside in the email or in whether you go online is a list for every district, and each district will tell you what it is that you need to be collecting. Please read each one of them specifically for your area because, like, toothbrushes need to be only single toothbrushes in a packet, not dual. There's certain restrictions based off of those health kits. The goal is to do 1,500 this year. So please get this out to everybody at your church. Put a basket or a box someplace with a sign above it so people can just drop it in, and then you just pick it up periodically until time for conference. The other thing will be the mission offering. Mission offering will be taken up right before conference starts. You and your pastor can determine on what Sunday that you will be doing that. Also, what you want to do is you can go onto the website and they will have a flyer type of item that can be printed out and put into bulletins that can be put on your bulletin board, preparing everybody for the mission offering. It will also discuss what the mission offering will be going to for this coming year. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the pre-conference reports. Our pre-conference reports will be available in mid-April. These reports can be printed, downloaded, or you can also order a printed copy, but there will be a fee for that. I print out my report. Let me show you my report. This is from last year. This is the report from last year. I print it out. I put it in this because I like to be able to look at everything. I've tried doing it device-wise, and that just wasn't going to work for me. The report is something that you, as a lay member to the annual conference, you need to read the report. If you have questions or you're not sure about anything, talk with your pastor first because they will be glad to go through and explain anything that you're trying to figure out. There are a few things that I want to show you concerning the pre-conference report. that I feel would be very important for you to know about, and I've tagged them in my book because they're what I use. The first one is what we call our consent calendar. The consent calendar allows us at conference to be able to vote on a large number of our voting items, and it's all in one huge consent calendar. Now there's several of them, and you will see on this when you get yours for this year that they have asterisks next to them. Those will be individually voted on. Even if it has been voted and approved with the consent calendar, you still will often hear about some of these different items. It depends on what the conference has and what they will be sharing with us throughout the 3 days that we are there. So just to kind of show you, one of the ones that usually does not go onto the consent calendar is the Board of Pensions and Health Benefits. And then you have, and I'll just read it instead of trying to flip them back around. You have the Council of Finance and Administration, and this concludes the budget. Now the budget, when it's done, is reviewed, discussed, and then will be voted on at a later time. It's not normally voted on at the same time that it is initially discussed. So you can expect that. Also, we have the report for the Standing Rules Committee. So this one will also be one that will be reviewed and voted on separately. The pre-conference report can look very daunting. Don't let it be that. Print it up or download it as soon as possible. I like having mine as a single page so I can flip without looking on the back side, but a lot of people do both sides, or you just order the copy and pay the fee to have that done. One of the things that you will find in the packet, because we all get a packet when we register, is the fact that the nominations committee is always in our packet. There's usually some additions and adding and things on that throughout our time before our voting. And we always have a lot of other packet information as well that can be added at the last minute for anything in the pre-conference report that wasn't available. We also, when we get to conference, will get some sort of booklet or informational about all the different services that you're going to be going in. We're going to be going through that here in just a few minutes. But this gives you an idea. And it isn't just with your pre-conference report, it's just going through this report and talking to your pastor about the report. You also need to be discussing with your pastor where your church is standing on issues that are going on. Your pastor is very versed in what will be going on during conference, and you want to make sure that you know that information so when voting happens, then you're able to vote accordingly. You do not have to vote according to exactly what your church has been talking through and wanting to do. You're there, you're listening, you're able to make a determination and will vote. If there's 3 of you, your vote may be different than somebody else's who's also a lay member. So what can you accomplish during the annual conference itself? Well, first thing you're going to do is you're going to come in at conference and you're going to go through registration. By doing your online registration, which is absolutely essential, it makes things so much easier for you and for the annual conference team. You go in, you go to where your last name initial is at, you will pick up your packet, and you're done. Everything is there. You've signed off that you've got it, and you now have your name tag. You know what's going on, anything additional items, and all of this is right there available for you. Also during that time, when you're doing your registration is the time to do a final check-in, or if you decided at the last minute that you want to do the afternoon of service, the church beyond, then you can go and sign up and register for any of that, or you can go and make sure that you're on the list if you're wanting to double check that, as well as turn in the items from your UMCOR kits. So those health kits, there's going to be a special place that you will put all those items, and that way you've got it taken care of first thing. The next thing that is going to be something that you're going to want to accomplish while you are at annual conference is making connections. As a new person to annual conference and as a new lay member, you want to start connecting with those that are within your district. So you want to try, your name will tell what district that you're with, and you're going to want to learn those people, and you're going to get to learn other people in other districts. This is a wonderful time to make a good large networking. Your first year you may just do a little bit, but each year you can just add on to it. Another item is the booths. I love going through all of the booths. As you are going through them, look to see if there is anything in those booths that you want to take back to church, your church in general, or specific, like the youth or the United Methodist Men or the Methodist Women or any of the things, and pick up brochures, pick up information as you're going through. The booths are there the whole 3 days that we are there, and will allow for you to walk through, because you will have time to do that, as well as unless something changes, Cokesbury will be there as well, and they will have books, Bibles, Bible studies, all kinds of things that you can purchase from them as well. Another thing is the laity session. The laity session is a time that when clergy is in their session, first thing on the very first day, we are in ours. We are learning what's going on within the laity of the conference. We are doing our own laity type of voting. We're all the different things that as laity. It's very important that you attend these every year, because you are going to learn things that has been ongoing through the year, things that might be going on during the conference. It is an important part of being a lay member to annual conference. The opening is another thing, and the opening sermon is always with the bishop. We go in on that very first day and have a wonderful service, a time of preparing ourselves for 3 days of not only connecting, learning, but also preparing for the voting and the business of the annual conference. Now, there are lots of different services, a lot of these different services that you are invited and really should attend when you are part of the lay member, are the ordination and commissioning services. This is a wonderful service that you will sit and be able to watch those that are being commissioned and ordained. It is a very heartfelt and beautiful. There's the retirement service. The retirement service is a time, and it's exactly what it is for those clergy that are retiring. There's also the memorial service. This is a service for any clergy or spouses of clergy that have passed away within the last year. It is a time to recognize them and their time and service for our Heavenly Father here within the conference. We have our mission service. This on the mission service is when you will take the check that you will receive back from your church of the mission offering, and it will be presented at that time and added to everybody else's for the missions that we are supporting during the year. There is also the afternoon of service, the church beyond. There is a time when you will be able to step out and make those choices as to which one you want to be a part of. And there's also two, if I remember right, of learning services, learning worship and learning leadership, or some kind of a training session that's going on. And then, of course, we have our business, the organizational session, the worshipful work and plenary. These are our working sessions. These are the sessions that will include voting. It's the sessions in which we will hear about certain ministries, where we learn some of the new things that has gone on within the past year. Also, we will hear of what plans may be coming up. It's where we will do our voting for our budget, and those items that we talked about that will not be on the consent calendar. And there is also the sending forth and the anointing. This is the last service on the last day, and what this is saying who is going to be moving or going into positions within the churches. It's important as a lay member that if you can, the churches around your area, if you hear that church, you want to, recognize who the new clergy is going to be, because you want to share that later on. One of the things about all of this at annual conference is sharing it all, and we'll be talking about that in a minute. And we're always blessed at annual conference for Bible studies. We get to have just some of the most wonderful people coming in and sharing with us on God, His love, and all that He is prepared and has been prepared to do for us. These Bible sessions and Bible studies are absolutely wonderful. Now, annual conference isn't just during that 3-day time. It's not preparing the beforehand either. There's a lot to be done once you return. Once you come back from annual conference, you are the informational source for your church. You are the one who's going to give them all the lowdown and heads up and what passed and what changes. I take notes when I'm doing this. You might be one that, however you can write to keep yourself up as to all the different things you want to make sure that you share with your congregation. First, let's look at the information from the booth. If you have pulled together things from like Isaiah Project or colleges, you want to turn something like that over to your youth ministers. You want to give them that so they can share that with their kids. You have like I said before, United Methodist Men, United Methodist Women. There are so many things. Always keep your mind open when you're going through the booths, and who can I share this with specifically? They don't have access to these booths. You do. So get it to the key people so that they can share it within their groups. And informing the congregation. You want to tell the congregation what has happened on those 3 days that you were at conference. Who within your area retired? Who has been moved? Who was ordained? Who was commissioned? You want to know these things within your conference areas and in your district areas. One of the ways to do that would be doing it during the service. Some churches, what they'll do is they plan times for the lay member to annual conference to speak during their church services. This will allow you time to put the information together, and then you share that with your congregation. Some people, they do it in their newsletters. So you would write an article in your newsletter sharing all the information. And then for others, you're able to write everything out and like you would for a newsletter, only is it will be put and enclosed with the bulletin and given out to everybody on a Sunday. There are just so many different things that you are able to do when you are doing annual conference. As a lay member to the annual conference, there are other things that you would also do during the time you're not at conference. One of the things I highly recommend is for you to get one of the lay member books and read about being a lay member. One of the things that's listed in this are the different committees that a lay member is part of. You are connectional between you and between the church and the conference. So you are on several committees. You want to know what your congregation is thinking. Ask questions. If there's things coming up that you want to know what's going on and where your church has been, where they stand on things. Everything that we do when we're at annual conference is, well, it's important to the work of our Father. And as such, we want to give it our very best at every time. There's plenty of time to have wonderful meals, to get with other people when you're there. And then you can share, even specifically by sharing with United Methodist Men or sharing with United Methodist Women. There's so many things that you can do when you are doing this that will give your congregation the information that they need. So this is what it is to be a lay member to the annual conference. It's kind of compressed and compacted, but my name and my email address are listed there. And please email me if you have any additional questions. I will be glad to answer anything, and want to make sure that we give you all the support that we can by being part of the annual conference. Thank you, and God bless.